Duggar News. Josh Duggar accused of breaking rules. Prosecutors slam his attempt at new trial. Josh Duggar, the former reality television personality whose name once dominated headlines for his appearances on 19 Kids and Counting, has once again found himself at the center of controversy. Already serving a prison sentence for possession of child sexual abuse material, Duggar is facing accusations of breaking prison rules while prosecutors push back strongly against his ongoing attempts to secure a new trial. The developments have sparked renewed public debate about his actions, his family's complicated legacy, and the future of his legal battles. The case that shook a family's image. Josh Duggar rose to public attention as part of one of America's most famous large families. For years, the Duggar family was portrayed as wholesome, faith-driven, and devoted to a strict moral code. However, the image collapsed when reports of Josh's misconduct surfaced, followed by his arrest and conviction on federal charges. In December 2021, Duggar was sentenced to more than 12 years in prison after a jury found him guilty of receiving and possessing child sexual abuse material. His conviction shocked longtime viewers who once associated the Duggar name with family values. While the family has remained divided in their responses, some offering public support and others keeping a distance, Josh has consistently fought his conviction, filing appeals and motions for a new trial. Allegations of breaking prison rules. Recent reports have emerged suggesting that Josh Duggar may not be following the strict regulations imposed upon inmates. Though details of the alleged violations remain under wraps, speculation has centered on potential misuse of communication privileges, attempts to circumvent rules surrounding technology, and other forms of misconduct within the correctional facility. Prisons enforce strict rules regarding inmate behavior, particularly for high-profile individuals. Any violation can result in disciplinary action, ranging from loss of privileges to solitary confinement. For Duggar, already under a spotlight, such allegations could further complicate his legal position and tarnish whatever support remains among family or loyal followers. Observers note that accusations of rule-breaking inside prison can also reflect a pattern seen outside, difficulty adhering to restrictions and accountability. Critics argue that Duggar's inability to follow rules is consistent with the behavior that led to his original conviction. Prosecutors push back against appeal. Meanwhile, prosecutors have filed strong responses to Duggar's legal team, who continue to argue that their client deserves a new trial. Duggar's attorneys maintain that mistakes were made during the initial proceedings and that certain evidence should not have been admitted. They argue that these errors compromised the fairness of the trial, warranting a do-over in court. Prosecutors, however, have rejected these claims with forceful language. In recent filings, they emphasized that Duggar received a fair and thorough trial, that evidence against him was overwhelming, and that his arguments are merely attempts to delay justice. They highlighted how Duggar's possession of explicit and harmful material was proven beyond reasonable doubt and insisted that no procedural errors occurred that would justify a retrial. Legal experts following the case suggest that Duggar's chances of securing a new trial remain slim. Courts are often reluctant to overturn jury verdicts unless clear, undeniable errors are proven. In Duggar's case, the evidence presented at trial, including digital files traced to his devices, was described as highly compelling. Prosecutors continue to emphasize that the jury's decision was well-founded and supported by law. The broader impact on the Duggar family. The continuing legal drama surrounding Josh Duggar has cast a long shadow over his once celebrated family. Since the scandal broke, the Duggar brand has been marred by associations with secrecy, cover-ups, and hypocrisy. While some family members have publicly distanced themselves, others maintain support for Josh, deepening the perception of division within the household. Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, the family's patriarch and matriarch, have largely refrained from addressing the latest developments. In the past, they expressed support for their son while also emphasizing their faith in God's plan. Yet critics argue that their public silence now reflects the near-impossible position the family is in: defend Josh and risk further backlash, or condemn him and fracture the family's unity even more. Siblings have taken different approaches. Jill Duggar Dillard has been outspoken about the pain of growing up in a highly controlled environment, even releasing a memoir that details strict rules and manipulation behind the scenes. Jinger Duggar Vuolo has similarly opened up about disentangling herself from restrictive teachings. Other siblings remain quiet, leaving the public to wonder where their loyalties lie. The continued attention on Josh's legal troubles ensures that the Duggar name remains tied to controversy rather than the wholesome image once presented on television. Rule-breaking allegations and public reaction. For critics of Josh Duggar, news that he may have broken prison rules serves as confirmation of long-held concerns that he refuses to take accountability. The allegations sparked strong reactions across social media, where many expressed outrage that Duggar continues to seek special treatment or defy authority even behind bars. Others expressed frustration at what they view as Duggar's attempts to use the legal system to prolong his case. He's not accepting responsibility, many argue, pointing to the repeated appeals as evidence of denial rather than remorse. Meanwhile, some supporters insist that everyone deserves the right to appeal and that Duggar's efforts to pursue legal remedies are justified. They argue that, regardless of the crime, an individual should be entitled to challenge their conviction if they believe mistakes were made. Still, these voices remain a minority compared to the widespread condemnation. Life behind bars. Josh Duggar is currently serving his sentence in federal prison, where daily life is far removed from the comfort and attention he once enjoyed. Inmates face strict schedules, limited communication, and minimal privacy. Reports have suggested that Duggar initially struggled to adjust, particularly to restrictions on technology and the constant scrutiny from both prison officials and the public. High-profile inmates often draw attention from fellow prisoners, either in the form of hostility or curiosity. Duggar's notoriety likely makes him a figure of interest within the prison population. Allegations of rule-breaking may stem from attempts to navigate these challenges, though prison officials maintain that all inmates are expected to follow the same standards. If proven, misconduct could result in Duggar losing privileges such as phone calls, visitation rights, or commissary access. For someone already fighting an uphill legal battle, additional disciplinary records would only worsen his situation.